Good morning, Friday. It's Haley, and I think the change that you're looking for is a cultural one, which is probably the hardest change to instill in the society intentionally. Especially like America, who hasn't made change that have made sense since, like the 1800s. I mean, technically we're still on the British counting system, even though the British don't even use it anymore. And the metric system makes more sense. It's the system that we use for science. It's the system that we use for, things that make more sense. But, America. So this video is going to be about what my last video was supposed to be about, which is one of the best mythical creatures that has ever existed, ever. Dragons. Oh, I don't have time for this. I'll be back. Outro, blackness. Then whiteness, then fade to regular color. So dragons, like most mythical creatures, started off in ancient Europe and ancient China. The name dragon comes from the Greek word drakon, that means either sea serpent or flying snake. They were indecisive. The dragon first presented itself in Greek religion. Poseidon, the king of the god of water, had a pet, and his pet was a dragon. The kraken, and both the kraken and the hydra were considered dragons. In almost about the exact same time period, a little later after the Greeks, the Chinese have become their own form of dragons. These dragons were not dragons of the water, though some of them were. Most dragons, though, were dragons of the sky. They created thunder and fire and most things that were bad in China. Of course, in China, there were some dragons that did some good. Most of the good dragons had to do with crop yields and stuff like that. The dragon would fly above the clouds and spit on the clouds to make it rain, or do whatever, or make the clouds dissipate, or whatever it is that they needed at the time to relate to dragons. In China, like most of the things that happened that has to do with their culture, things didn't change very much as far as dragons. In Europe, however, there was absolutely no such thing as a good dragon. There were no dragons that were rideable. There were no dragons that, were your friend. The European dragon was, yes, a thing in Greece, but it really took off during the Dark Ages where, people just kind of, relied on religion and faith and whatever the hell was said to them as what was true was going on in the world. They didn't really have any real connections of news and anything else as far as word of mouth. Also, this was a time period where people dueled a lot, even though it was generally illegal. It being generally illegal actually just kind of made it more popular. It made it like trendy and hip to like duel someone and kill them in a duel. I say this to couple it with the idea of word of mouth, so people could be like, I just dueled and killed a dragon. Beat that. In fact, that was most of Beowulf. If you know anything about the tale of Beowulf, yeah, most of it was word of mouth. Now time for anatomy. Our American thoughts and views on dragons are the same views that Europeans had on dragons as far as, aesthetic. They were described as horse-like creatures, only instead of fur, they had skin, armored skin that braced their body like chainmails. Their limbs were as long as a man's body, and each wingspan was 5 men long at least. Their necks was long and protruded like a snake ready for the prow. Chinese dragons, as you know, are completely different from that. They did not have wings. Their ability to fly was completely based on magic. Was almost completely based on magic. I mean, some of them had wings and some of them didn't. The jury is out on whether they actually flew like creatures or if they just like slithered on the air. So that's what I know about dragons as far as, no Wikipedia and Google searches. I'm sure if I did that, I'd probably have more to talk about. But I actually don't want to talk about that anymore. So what I want to talk about for the remainder of the video is a name change. I think our name should be something different. I mean, I like DFTBA Fighting World Sec, but it was kind of something that was made on the fly because we knew we wanted to do this, so we wanted to do it done right then, so it didn't get, tossed in with the rest of the ideas that we have. I was thinking about something simple like Haley and Spoon or Spoon and Haley. Just talk to me in the comments if you think there's a better idea, or email me. We can talk directly because this is the time period of communication I need for myself. So Haley, I'm fresh from work. I'm tired. I'm ready to be done with this. So DFTBA, and I will see you on Tuesday.